Thank you for joining me tonight, Dr. Fannin. And I know we've got some great information that you want to share, but when you were first, I bet lots of people bring lots of stuff to you, right?
Yeah, that happens over the 23 years that I've been doing this. I don't think a month has gone by where somebody hasn't come by and say, can you promote this or use this in your practice? And there's always, no, I don't want anything to do with that, until I actually, started looking at the research. And when I saw that, I saw what Dr. McCord had put out there. I went, this guy is speaking my language. I understand what he's talking about. And,
so the science got you, right?
Yeah, the science got me. So I am a science geek, I admit it.
Yeah, so we can say that we have real science behind our products, right?
Very solid science behind it.
Fantastic. I love that when, you get someone at your caliber and your, degree of knowledge and scientific background to really see what we're talking about. This is truly a medical breakthrough, just like Washington State University states that this is the biggest, preventative and therapeutic breakthrough in the history of medicine, this NRF2 activation. So I want you, so you have, been playing around with our products, got it into some of your patients. So tell us what you're seeing and what you're experiencing so far.
All right. Yeah. Do you want me to just tell you or want me to show you?
Show me. Yeah. Share your screen. Show us.
Okay. So I need to do a little screen share here. Hang on just one second. All right. So what we're looking at here is just kind of a cover slide. We're looking at a clinical sample of one of my ADD cases. This is a 15-year-old male who's been diagnosed with inattentive attention deficit disorder, or what we call ADD. The first brain map was taken after about 18 sessions of doing neurofeedback with me. And then we introduced him to NRF1, NRF2, and Axio. And he took this regimen for about 12 days before we did a second brain map. So get here to for those of you who aren't aware of what a brain map is, let me give you just a real short course. I promise I won't get deep in statistics or anything like that here. So we see this legend down here where it goes from dark blue, light blue, green, yellow, orange, and red. These are based on standard deviations. How far away from normal is something? So there's over 5,000 people in the normative database. And so we can look at that, and by using what's called a Gaussian distribution, or a bell curve, if you will, we can see where the standard deviations are. So don't worry about that. That's kind of a mathematical thing. When we see green in the brain maps, or taking the squiggly lines and converting them to what we know as a quantitative EEG, a QEEG, the green means it's normal EEG activity. If it's yellow or orange, we know that it's 2 standard deviations above normal. If it's red, we know that it's 3 standard deviations above normal. Now, the other side of the scale, we have 2 standard deviations below normal, which is light blue, and dark blue is 3 standard deviations below normal. Now, a lot of people will equate that with good and bad, but that's not necessarily the case. It really depends on the frequencies and so forth. So here is our guy after 18 sessions of neurofeedback. And you don't have to be a neuroscientist to begin to interpret this. You look at the red, and we know that that's 3 standard deviations above normal. This is his thinking activity, his beta activity. And after taking this for 12 days, we did another brain map, and all of the green, if you remember the Gaussian distribution, the green means it's normal EEG. So I was pretty astounded. In 23 years of doing this, I had never, ever seen this. And so it was just amazing to me. This color up here, you may be wondering about that, but that's his ADD up there, okay? One of the key components to this, as I reasoned it out, and I'll tell you here in just a second, when we look at coherence, how the body processes energy and information. And so we look at his coherence before, and all the red and blue That's not good, basically. I won't take time to explain what that actually means, but it's not good. So after he'd been on the Nerf 1, Nerf 2, and Axio for 12 days, we see this. So when there are very few lines or no lines at all, it is comparing his demographics, male, female, left, right hand, age, to the normative database, saying that this is in the normal range. Now, when I looked at this, I was truly, truly amazed, because when I started thinking, how is this possible, I had to go to a quantum physics view of this. And that means that we have 600 million billion cells in our body. And how that functions, or it needs to be a dynamic organ. So the cells that we have has to be dynamically engaged, and coherence is a very important part of that. So this, it began to explain to me, and I'll just kind of keep it fairly shallow here, and that is that when I saw all of this, it told me that the coherence was taking place, the changes were taking place at a cellular, molecular level based on quantum physics and how our cells and our organs function. So that's all we need to know now. And you can see a very dramatic difference from what it was to 12 days later. How is that physically possible? Only if there is this synergistic effect that's taking place between the cells in the body. So the NRF1, the NRF2, and the Axio have helped to open up all of the centers and bring them into the normal range, so they're functioning in that normal range. All right, so let's look at his brain map side by side. This is the before, this is the after. And again, you don't have to be a neuroscientist to figure this out. You can see that there is a dramatic change that happened there. So this is his beta activity, his thinking activity in the normal range. So wow. All of those things are really incredible. And all I can say is I'm astounded by this. You know, and I use all of the products ever since I got on them, and I think they are just fantastic. I feel great, you know, and when I have a lot of work to do and I'm processing brain maps and so forth, I'll drink some of my Axio just so that it opens up, and I feel that. I can't find any words to say what it feels like, but it feels like your brain goes from just a normal size to the energy and information about 5 times greater. So it's pulling in all of this energy and information from the morphogenetic field. And I won't take time to explain what that is, but you can look it up.
Yeah. So basically you're saying that, you know, in 12 days, giving, you know, your patient the NRF2 activator, the NRF1 activator, and the Axio, that literally the cells have started to repair themselves enough in 12 days.
Well, I think it's hard to explain it as the cells are repairing themselves. I think, yes, that is the answer. But again, this is an N of 1. We have one person here that we're dealing with. But I think it demonstrates that something very dramatic is happening here. And something that is out of the ordinary. Unfortunately, we live in a day and age when we have equipment that we can measure things like this.
Right.
So it was really quite astounding that we got these kind of measures.
Yeah. So for me, it's exciting because, you know, I've been, you know, with this company now for almost 9 years, and, you know, I've had hundreds and hundreds of, you know, children and adults with, you know, suffering with ADD, and they've had these great results. So I know that our products have helped them, you know, the focus, concentration, you know, just feels like, you know, I know when I started it, it felt like a fog had lifted from my brain. I just thought, okay, I'm getting older, you know, you get older and you're just not as crisp when you're young, right? You can multitask and your brain just goes. And I remember when I got on the product, within the first month, it was like this fog had lifted and I could just process so much, you know, so fast, like when I was younger. But now to have the evidence of brain mapping kind of showing from the hundreds and hundreds of people that, you know, have been on this product for this particular thing, you know, and had good results, to see this is, like the icing on the cake now, because
Yeah, I think so. I think this is really tremendous.
yeah, we knew it was helping, but now we can look at your brain map and, that doesn't lie. You didn't make it up. You did the same way you did the test the first time, 12 days later, and here's the results. And I know you're going to get more patients on it and more testing we're going to see. So it's really exciting to see this happening.
Yeah, you can't lie to an EEG. It's going to record what it's going to record. You can't alter it. It is what it is, and I think that's the great part about it, because you're not altering the data in any way, shape, or form. You can't. So
did this child at all, did anything, a physical change?
Let's talk about that for just a second. We're getting reports back from the school, and the school didn't know that we were doing this. And so there was a report from the teacher, and his mom, sent this report to me saying, what a change, because they were getting 2 and 3 calls a day, that he's acting out, he's using inappropriate language, he didn't bring in his homework, all the typical stuff that we'll see with ADD and ADHD. And then all of a sudden she's saying, what a turnaround, he's now bringing his homework in, he's accomplishing what he needs to, he's talking appropriately. Now, he's 15, so there are going to be some behavioral macho issues that come up, but it's not like, hey, I'm going to do this. He always will say, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. So his behavior is catching up. So our behavior is based on our thoughts, and our thoughts turn those into subconscious belief patterns, and that's what guides our behaviors. So he's going really through this metamorphosis as anybody would, and having to get rid of the old and make room for the new.
Mm-hmm. Wow, that is so impressive. I mean, I love hearing that, the teachers are noticing, because, so not only on the brain map are we seeing that this has helped him, but in real life, his whole, attitude and demeanor, and the teachers have noticed it without knowing what behind the scenes he's
Well,
been
even his parents, even his parents are saying the same thing. So we not only do we have the empirical evidence of the brain map, but we have the anecdotal evidence from people